Good afternoon and welcome. Is this nicely audible? Yeah, okay. So good afternoon and welcome each of you to this celebration of the life of Carol Nicholson Fryberger. I'm Dan D'Allard. I'm honored to be a nephew-in-law, which is one of Carol's phrases, by marriage to one of her nieces, Christina Fryberger. It's my deep additional honor on behalf of Carol's family to thank you all for gathering with us today. Her family is especially grateful that we can do so here at Glen Avon, a community that has meant a great deal to Carol and to Jerry. Our service will center on memories of Carol from her children, Jeremy Fryberger, Lynn McLean, Holly Sienkiewicz, and Sarah Madison, as well as from many of her beloved grandchildren. Also, music and poems and prayer will evoke her values and her virtues. As you know, her virtues included humility. And observing us, Carol might ask, why all this fuss? But of course, it is right that we fuss over her. She called no attention to herself. But we can shine a bright light on a life of purpose and of love and of so many right relationships, including with so many of us. That many voices will celebrate her today seems so true to her inclusive and welcoming spirit. And in planning such a service, Jerry and Jeremy and Holly and Lynn and Sarah, you have already honored your mother. We will begin with a poem.
Hi, my name is Rel Sienkiewicz, and I will be reading My Symphony by William Henry Channing. To live content with small means, to seek elegance rather than luxury, and refinement rather than fashion, to be worthy, not respectable, and wealthy, not rich, to study hard, think quietly, talk gently, act frankly, to listen to stars, birds, babes, and sages with open heart, to bear all cheerfully, do all bravely, await occasions, hurry never. In a word, to let the spiritual, unbidden, and unconscious grow up through the common. This is to be my symphony.
Il va Hi, my name is Quinn Madison.
My name is Beckett Madison.
We will be reading Afterglow. I'd like the memory of me to be a happy one. I'd like to leave an afterglow of smiles when life is done. I'd like to leave an echo whispering softly down the ways of happy times and laughing times and bright and sunny days.
I'd like the tears of those who grieve to dry up before the sun of happy memories that I leave behind when life is done.
Hi, my name is Severin Sienkiewicz. Dear Grandma, I miss you. You have been ever present and ever supportive since even before I was born. When I saw you last, just 1 month ago, you were wearing the zip-up from my college's bookstore. You were my biggest advocate. You held my hand and guided me steadily as I grew up, teaching me how to care for others and hold myself with poise. While I certainly preferred dancing to the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse theme song with you, I can now appreciate the stern conversations as well. You are my model for a mother and grandmother. I miss you, but you aren't gone. I'll feel your warm and steady presence whenever I watch a sunset on the beach, eat shrimp cocktail, or do a 1,000-piece puzzle. A line from a book you used to read me. I'll love you forever, I'll love you for always. As long as I'm living, my grandma you'll be. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Coulter Sienkiewicz, the younger brother of Severin. For several summers in middle school, I would hop on a plane to Duluth for hockey camp. When I would land in Minneapolis, Grandma would be waiting. Our first stops were always the same: sharpen my skates, then to Mount Royal Market to stock up on snacks for the long days ahead. Each morning, Grandma was a force of quiet preparation. She meticulously laid out breakfast, packed my lunch, and made sure my pads weren't still soaked from the day before. After I'd spent all day on the ice, she'd often be waiting in the car with something sweet. Grandma could be stern, especially when I complained about being placed in a group with the bad players. She was also my most ardent supporter, watching from the boards for hours more days than not. I only ever knew her as my grandma, but looking back on those summers when it was just the two of us, it's clear that she approached every relationship in her life with that same steadfast, supportive love. That was your superpower, Grandma.
Hello, I'm Duncan, Jeremy's son. It's good to be with you all today and honor and remember the great person Grandma was. I'd like to share some of my memories with Grandma at the cabin in Duluth and how she has brought me together with so many fun people. Grandma always loved when everyone was together and having fun. Whenever I got to come to Minnesota, it was a treat. We would visit Duluth, and at some point, we would come and say hi to Grandma and Grandpa. Grandma would often take us into town to get something sweet like ice cream. When we were not with Grandma, we were still having fun. If Grandma couldn't come out to the cabin, we would still enjoy the lake with the lily pad and the paddle boards. Grandma also loved to cheer for all her grandkids. I know that she is proud of what all the grandkids have already done, and she will continue to cheer us on with whatever we do.
Hi, my name is Hattie. Not everyone calls their grandma Gabby, but I do, as I couldn't say grandma at a young age, so that's what I called her, and the name Gabby stuck. And that's why Wednesdays were called Gabby Days. It was my favorite day of the week. On Wednesdays, I would walk out of class into the lobby and be filled with joy when I saw her waiting for me. No one else came to wait for whoever they were picking up, just Gabby. She had that way of making everyone feel special, just how I felt when I saw her waiting just for me. Our afternoons together were always fun, even if she had errands to run or a dog to walk. I just liked spending time with her. If it was a regular day, we had our routines. We would arrive at Bruce Street, prepare our snack, and watch an episode of Mickey Mouse. Then we would decide what we wanted to do. I enjoyed this especially because I had all the attention, and with the younger brother, that never happened. One of my favorite memories was when we had to get Lily Mae groomed, and she turned this into a secret mission where it could only be fueled by McDonald's. What mattered was that we were together. We did fun things like play t-ball, do a fashion show, art projects, board games, or whatever else sounded fun. She was the perfect combo of a fun grandma who helped you sneak extra ice cream and an amazing smart role model. Gabby, I hope you know how much I miss you. I love you so much.
I'm Nina O'Sullivan. Grandma Carol, thank you so much for always having a place for me in your big heart. And because of your kindness, I'll always have a place for you. Not only did you make me happy, but you also brought me together with so many amazing people. Each trip to Rutgers, Larsemont, or the cabin is something I look forward to for months. It'll be hard to go without you being there, but I have made so many connections through you. You sent nice cards every holiday and was always wondering what was going on in my life. I loved you. I loved it when you made me a delicious lunch every day with a lollipop to finish it off. You were always the fun grandma who encouraged us to hop on some water skis or go jump in Lake Superior in December. Never even joking about how we wouldn't be invited back. It seemed to me that whenever we were together, you were thinking about me and if I was having fun. But it seems that everyone felt the same way. Somehow she knew how to make everyone feel loved at the same time. I certainly wish that I had more memories with her. Though I'm terribly sad that I lost such an inspirational, loving role model in my life, I like to think that you're still with us in a way, doing your wonderful thing.
Hello, I am Sarah, the youngest daughter. My nieces and nephews set a high bar of holding it together, so I will do my best. I am one of 4 of the luckiest, well, I've already failed, luckiest people in the world to be raised by Carol and Jerry. On the eve of her last birthday, and we knew it was going to be her final birthday, I wrote her a letter. And I just would like to read you this letter, some of it, not all of it. I was given a strict time limit by my older siblings. Dear Mom, on the eve of your 86th birthday, I find it fitting to write a few of the extraordinary lessons I've learned from you. Number 1, live simply so others may simply live. You and my dad lived in the same house for over 60 years. The majority of that time, 1 shower. 3 girls, 1 shower. You had resources to live very differently, but it was never a priority for you. 0 need for fancy homes or cars, a rarely mentioned Harvard MBA. Instead, You chose to live quietly, give away your time, your resources to improve the lives and communities around you. In today's world, we are in desperate need of more people like you and my dad. Number 2, don't waste a conversation talking about yourself. You know everything about you. Ask questions, show interest, and learn something. Number 3, respect people and always be evolving. When you learned a neighborhood child wanted to be referred to by a different pronoun, you didn't judge them. Instead, you worked so hard to remember and learn that correct pronoun. Like Coulter said, putting people at ease has always been your superpower. Number 4, be as many people's safe harbor as possible. You had 4 biological children, but mothered so many more. Joe. A friend of mine actually texted me yesterday. He is originally from South Africa, and I found it fitting, so I'm including it here. He said, "She welcomed me into your family with unconditional love. Her children are everywhere, and I'm honored to be one." She knew, and then I said, "We always knew that when life, as it often does, gets messy and scary, you were our safe harbor to retreat, ready to fly anywhere, at any time, literally anywhere at any time." Number 5, show up for your people. You volunteered for everything, never missing a school event, athletic contest. You volunteered so much I was secretly jubilant that you weren't volunteering our 6th grade overnight to Camp Miller. Knowing this information, Christy Gange and I went over to Snow White, where at that time you could charge to your parents' account. So, do first and ask for forgiveness later type thing. And we got the largest stash of candy. We got on the bus and we were laying it out, looking at all of it. And our teacher, Mr. Laura Becky, as we were about to leave, "Oh, I'm so sorry, we had one mother pull out. But don't worry, we got a replacement." And before I could look up, I knew. And I look out the window, and my mother has shoes in her hand, a bag half open, running across the parking lot to the bus. She always, always, always showed up. And look at you all. You did number 5. You nailed number 5 today. You showed up for us. You showed up for my dad. You showed up for my siblings. You showed up for the grandchildren. You just showed up. And a lot of you came. Do you know I-35 is closed now? I have friends who haven't made it yet because they closed the interstate, and you're here. Mike and Melody, you flew this morning very early because you were at the DU hockey game last night. And you're here. You guys are here in Minnesota in January. And we just can't tell you what that means to us. Like I said, you nailed number 5. So to honor my mother, do one of the other 4 today. And thank you so much. Got it. Oh, it's okay.
This is what happens when you run too many marathons. And I ran too many marathons.
Yep.
Okay, where am I?
Down right here. You're gonna sit down.
Okay.
Whew! Made it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm Carol's kind of slow but sure marathon runner. and I don't run them anymore, and thank God. The 1967 NCAA collegiate hockey tournament was held in Duluth, and one of the players was Ken Dryden. Ken Dryden was playing for Cornell University. He's a Canadian, but he was playing for Cornell University. and Ken was arguably the best best goaltender in North America. And Ken was a goaltender for the National Hockey League. In fact, he went on to win 6 Stanley Cup titles. And he was a magnificent player and a magnificent representative of hockey. They chose the tournament team, and they did not include Ken Dryden. He had won 6 Stanley Cup championships, and Carol was so mad that she got up and did a wonderful throw to center ice of her purse. And I said to Carol, Carol, this is a fine how do you do. We're sitting in the stands, and your purse is out at center ice, and what are we going to do? And she said, oh, I know what we're going to do. You're going to go down and get my purse. And so I started climbing down the ice, and I ran into Len Sigarski. He was a coach for St. Lawrence. And so he said, what are you doing out here, Fryberger? The college I was representing was Middlebury College, and we didn't win any tournament or things. He said, what are you doing? He said, well, I got a project to do, and I'm out here doing it now, Len. I didn't want to get into the fact that he was a wonderful hockey player, and he was. And so so I said, what are you? She said, what are you going to do? And I said, I don't know what I'm going to do. You're going to tell me to go out and get the purse. And so I did. I walked out on the ice, and all these guys are on their skates, and of course, I'm head and a half taller than I am. And so I ran into a bunch of guys, coaches that Middlebury College had played, and I played against them. But so,
now do this story.
And after, after working for Hallett companies for 30 years, we had a couple of people who were unknowns to me, but they wanted to take over the company, and this was a difficult time for me because I had always worked with a bunch of group from people from Duluth, but they had a lot of stockholders from other people in the country, and so I said, he said, Jerry, we're going to have to do something about this. He says, you don't want to lose the company, and they said, we're going to get into the car and we're going to go talk down through the Midwest of the country, a number of big stockholders, and we're going to straighten this thing out. And I always got the last word in with Carol, and it was yes, her. And so it was wonderful, and she had such a deep understanding of things, how things were moving, and what was the best way to do it. And so we so I went. Carol got in the car with me, and we drove down to the Midwest, and we went all the way to Missouri and Texas and Louisiana, and we straightened things out. And it was because Carol had such a love for understanding what was really important and what was going on. And so the Hallett company survived, and it was quite a struggle, but we won the fight, and Hallett companies is still going on, and it's been terrific. But it was because I never, as I said so often, if you don't have the brains, you marry them.
All right, that's a good ending.
And that's exactly what happened. I wasn't as capable as Carol, and she. It was lots of fun, and
That's good. That's good, Dad.
It was just she had a different sense about what was right and what was wrong, and I just cherished it. Just cherished it. So, Thanks.
Yeah.
Good.
There's a stair.
Frybergers have never been short on words, right? I'm Holly Sienkiewicz, and I'll try to be brief. Some of what I'm going to say is a little bit of a repetition from what others have said, but my mom held a deep conviction centered around showing up for people. She showed up equally in big ways and in small ways. For celebration or sorrow, for the good, the bad, and sometimes the really ugly, through thick and thin, she showed up. She had this nailed. Sometimes we talk about a good dismount. She got a 10. In my own life, I can really only honestly remember one time that she did not make an event of mine. It was so unusual for me that she wasn't there that I remember the details vividly. And I don't remember a lot of things. Those details aren't important, but the hundreds of times that she was present to support me were and still are important. I thought of so many different stories to tell today to try to illustrate that, and I settled on one. One November, I had qualified for the state cross-country meet down in Minneapolis. I was already down in Minneapolis getting ready to run, but my mom was driving up that morning with two teammates, Bill Mosier and Al Johnson, and with my sister Sarah, who was also a teammate. As Minnesota weather sometimes, occasionally does, it was a particularly nasty November day. They piled in the old station wagon and crested Thompson Hill, and as they were just starting to head south, they spun out and did a 180. Luckily, they didn't end up in the ditch, so they righted the car and started to head south again, albeit a bit more slowly. Soon they were stopped by a state trooper who said to her, "We are closing the highway. You need to turn around." She said, "Absolutely not." She drove the rest of the 130 miles to Minneapolis with one tire on the shoulder of the road and 3 terrified children in the car. They literally arrived at the race with like minutes to spare before the starting gun went off. My friend Bill reached out to me this week, and he was actually reminiscing about this story, and he said, "Your mom never failed to impress me." And I couldn't agree more. So as Sarah said, you've honored Carol immensely by showing up today. Some of you traveled far, it wasn't easy, and she would be so happy and feel so loved. So thank you.
My siblings and my nieces and nephews and daughter have impressed me beyond belief. Thank you for everything you've added to this, and thank you for being here. Everyone has a superpower, and my mom especially understood that. In the weeks before her death, I would often think about her and think about what she had added to my life and to others, and I would think about who she was at her core. And it was during one of these walks with our dog in the early morning hours, and this is winter, so it's dark, I thought I finally understood what her true superpower was. And that was that she could recognize others' superpowers. She saw people fully and completely. She would quickly understand what was unique about them, and she would embrace that. She would celebrate it. She would she would nurture that uniqueness in them, and she would let them know that the world needed exactly what they offered. My mom was known for her cards. These were hand-picked cards. They were unique, and they often fit perfectly to the person and the occasion for which they were chosen. And in each card, it was always accompanied with a handwritten note. And these notes were simultaneously very well written and deeply meaningful. In the last months of her life, she began to lose the ability to write legibly, and at one point to write at all. She lost the ability to walk, and she labored to speak clearly. Her mind began to betray her, and she lost the sense of time. But during this time, one of her chief concerns was that she would miss a birthday, that she would miss acknowledging a birthday. So she began to enlist others to help her in this. She had a whiteboard in their house, and this whiteboard would show the next birthday. It would say things like, "Happy birthday, Quinn, 15. And this would often show up 10 days, 2 weeks before the birthday. She would write it in the beginning, but then others would write it. She would ask, "When's the next birthday?" And when she started to lose a sense of time, she would ask, "Is it today?" "No, it's in 3 days." "And is it today?" "Well, we're almost there." And on the day of the birthday, we would take a picture of the board with whoever was around, whatever family member or non-family member that was around, and text it to that person. So on the day of her death, the board read, "Happy birthday, Nina, 13. And Nina turned 13 5 days after she died, so we took the picture. And in the last days, in the last weeks of her life, when she was losing both her physical and her mental abilities, her core remained strong and true. And that core continued to celebrate and embrace those she loved.
My name is Jeremy Fryberger. I am Carol's and Jerry's oldest and their only son. Before I start talking about my mom, I want to specifically thank 9 people: my dad, my 3 sisters, Lynn, Holly, and Sarah, my cousin Christina, and my mom's and dad's 4 other extraordinary care providers: Sarah Baker, Leah Wertenen, Mel Rakowski, and Star Bixler. There are also dozens of others who have helped provide my mom and dad with remarkable care. Yet it is these 9 individuals just mentioned who made my mom's final years, months, weeks, and days much less difficult for her and often enjoyable. This is challenging, sometimes exhausting work. Yet the 9 of you perform it with incredible patience and kindness. And for that, I'm forever grateful. Okay. While I'm up here partly for all of you and partly for myself, I'm mostly here for my mom. For her sake, I'm not going to rush. Like every speech today, mine are words that I believe she'd truly appreciate, and I hope you do too. So, Mom, here we go. Today, all of us have heard about the many wonderful attributes of my mother. We've also heard terrific stories, and I have similar things to say. Yet, given that I have just one opportunity with this audience to honor my mother, and that I've found a perspective that you haven't heard from others, I've decided to do something different. I'll try to weave my mom's life and character into some of the big themes everywhere that occurred during her lifetime. Let me start, however, by noting that I was raised attending this church attended its Sunday school. I sang in the youth choir, sat in these pews, and 47 years ago, age 13, I was confirmed right there. Now, while I have a specific belief in a higher power, my faith doesn't correspond very well with Christianity, nor with Judaism, or Buddhism, or with any other established religion. But it probably does connect them all in my own way. And that's okay. In fact, it's not just okay, it's integral to being an American. As we watch, somewhat in disbelief, as strong political forces attempt to implement a state-sponsored religion in this country, here's something worth remembering. As our nation prepares to celebrate its 250th birthday, we should all pause to recall that the origin story of this nation revolves around citizens of England who left their homes and everything else and immigrated to an unknown frontier in pursuit of religious freedom. My mom, although a true love thy neighbor Christian, very much believed not just in religious freedom, but in all of America's core values. Now, back to those brave early immigrants, reducing all of their belongings to a few loaded trunks, the clothes on their backs, whatever else they could carry. Not coming back. And they really didn't know much about where they were going. That's courage. It's a courage that my mom displayed countless times throughout her life. It's a courage that she employed 8 days ago when she left everything she'd ever known and set off for a new frontier. I can't even imagine. My mom was born on September 1st, 1939, the same day that Adolf Hitler's war machine rolled into Poland. History buffs call this the beginning of World War II. Now, of course, my mom would have known much about it at that time. She was just 5 years old when the war ended. While she probably had relatives and certainly family friends who were involved in the war effort, my mom had younger siblings. Together and with their young friends, they were busy being children. Even when the Korean War's hot fighting period ended, my mom had only just become a teenager. Besides, that was 1950s America. Things were pretty good for white people. And while not as good for women, they were certainly better for white women, like my mom. By all accounts, my mom was a typical Bobby Soxer growing up in New England. Early rock and roll, cheerleading, a driver's license, and for her, a whole bunch of great grades. That girl got so many A's, she almost single-handedly created an alphabetical shortage. Soon after, my mom went off to college in Vermont, and while Black Americans were amplifying calls for a piece of America's growing prosperity, 1950s Vermont couldn't have gotten much whiter. In fact, when I followed in my mom's footsteps almost 30 years later, Vermont still looked like mayonnaise in a snowstorm. And it's always been somewhat remote. Thus, I don't have a sense that my mom experienced much of the civil rights movement that had begun to roil this country. But at Middlebury, she did meet my dad. Coming from Minnesota, he was kind of a minority. After college, my mom quickly became one of the first several women admitted to Harvard Business School. Again, courage. And while Cambridge, Massachusetts and the Harvard campus were certainly more central than Vermont to civil rights activism, getting through HBS probably required quite a bit of focus. And besides, it takes a special young person to be deeply concerned about unknown fellow humans. I certainly wasn't one. On the other hand, my mom's 9 grandchildren are. Not long after business school, my mom and dad married in Philadelphia, where her parents had relocated in pursuit of my grandfather's insurance industry career. Then my mom said goodbye to New England and her family and relocated to Duluth. Talk about courage. I remember. Many of you remember as well, 40 below, plus wind chill, real blizzards. Back when it frequently would become so cold, very windy, and very snowy all at once. Long winters, short, often frustrating summers. Regardless, the dog always needed walking, and boy did my mom walk dogs. By 1965, following passage of the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act, my mom became a new parent because of me. In 1967, my sister Lynn arrived, followed in 69 by Holly, followed by my mom's brother David shifting off as a foot soldier to Vietnam, followed in 1971 by my sister Sarah's arrival. My uncle David, who survived Vietnam, sort of, was shot in combat. All of these things required my mom's courage. Now, my wife and I have a son and a daughter 3.5 years apart. For us, these first 16 years of parenting, it felt somewhat like water skiing behind a freight train. My parents have 4 kids who arrived in the span of just 5.5 years. For my mom and dad, the late 60s, the 70s, 80s, and 90s must have been like taking baseball batting practice from 12 different pitchers all at once. Here's the thing. My mom never stopped finding ways of exhibiting courage. Yet starting around the time of my arrival in 1965, I think my mom gained a sense of purpose that became the framework for the rest of her days. Looking out for others. Love thy neighbor. And as many of you in this room can attest, she did this extraordinarily well. As I near the end of my talk, I'll indulge in one story about my mom. There are many good ones to choose one, but here's one with some levity that seemed right for today. I was in junior high, taking Algebra 2 and hovering between an A and a B. While I knew the material, I wasn't so good at the scratch work. I'd make basic arithmetic mistakes, or I'd scrawl things too quickly and haphazardly. My mom, on the other hand, would patiently and neatly work with her pencil to help me improve. At the end of that term, I came home from school with a test score that landed me just short of an A for the class. Yet right away, after reviewing the test, my mom discovered that I'd correctly answered one question that the teacher had marked it as incorrect, and that the revised score would boost me to an A. To close the issue, she just needed to show my teacher. Now, there wasn't much that would ever stand between my mom and helping her kids. Certainly not a cheap garage door. Granted, that door was partly open before she backed through it. On the other hand, our 6-ton station wagon really wasn't very tall. Of course, the car made it through that garage door quite easily. I'm not sure my mom even noticed at first. And yes, she got me that grade I had just barely earned. Looking out for others is what she always did. Today, all of us are witnessing, often with horror, as fear-driven self-interest, which is the polar opposite of courage and looking out for others, continues to overrun large swathes of American society and the globe. It seems clearer every minute, as it always was for my mom, that looking out for others is the only sustainable path, that working together in a truthfully informed, peaceful way is the only road to real and enduring prosperity. For a life that began at the onset of World War II, almost all of my mom's 86 years occurred during a remarkable period of relative peace and increasing, albeit decelerating, equity in the Western world. Yet even 2 decades ago, my mom could see the red flags. Early last year, she expressed terror about what might happen. We're living through a difficult time. And nowhere in history is authoritarianism or fascism seen with anything but pity and disgust. Sadly, our nation has been descending into this hole for a very long time. And for just as long, many of us have been pleading begging for a change of course. Yet it's simply human nature that a segment of every population is vulnerable, sadly even open, to the allure of disinformation, its intended bigotry, greed, and entitlement. Nevertheless, in my mom's grandchildren, 9 young people who are emotionally intelligent, aware, and courageous beyond their years, I see great hope for humankind's future. Looking out for others is literally in their DNA. The night my mom died, my sisters and I went to sleep with information suggesting that my mom had several days left, perhaps as many as 10. Our travel plans were set. And when I woke up the next morning, I didn't immediately know what had transpired overnight. In fact, it transpired overnight. My cell phone had fallen from its normal spot, and its battery had succumbed to the cold bedroom air. So I got up, attached the charger, and took our dog out for a walk. It was still dark, and our town in Idaho had received a dusting of snow. When my dog and I reached our neighborhood's only street light, I stopped and noticed that the still untracked snow in the road sparkled in an extraordinary way. In fact, I asked out loud, does the snow without my awareness always sparkle this way? Or is this unique? We soon finished our walk and returned home. I then quickly learned of my mom's passing. Following several phone calls with my wife, who was out of town with our kids, and with my sister Lynn, I was then making some breakfast when it dawned on me. That snow had sparkled in a unique way, and probably just for me. It was my mom telling me that she loves me, courageously saying goodbye, and always looking out for others. Godspeed, Mom. I love you. We love you.
Must have been cold there in my shadow to never have sunlight on your face. You were content to let me shine, that's your way. You always walked a step behind. So I was the one with all the glory, while you were the one with all the strength. A beautiful face without a name for so long. A beautiful smile to hide the pain. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you It might have appeared to go unnoticed, but I've got it all here in my heart. I want you to know I know the truth. Of course I know it. I would be nothing without you. Did you ever know that you're my hero? And everything I would like to be. I can fly higher than an eagle, 'cause you are the wind beneath my wings.
I'm Christina DeAllard, Uncle Jerry and Aunt Carol's niece. I'm reading an excerpt from In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this: the fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when time comes, to let it go, to let it go. Please join me in the Our Father. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you again, dearly, from Carol's family for joining us today for this celebration of a life lived richly and lovingly. We hope that you will join us now for a reception at the Northland Country Club, which is just down the hill on Superior Street. This was a place that was dear to Carol. We didn't hear much about her golf game today, but it was a splendid golf game. And she showed her usual generosity through that immensely as well. Carol was always concerned about too many leftovers, so you can honor her by coming and help us not have many leftovers. Thank you again.
Okay, this one's for Gabby.
That's what you are. Unforgettable, though near or far. Like a song of love that clings to me. How the thought of you does things to me. Never before has someone been more unforgettable in every way. And forevermore, that's how you stay. That's why, darling, so unforgettable, thinks that I am unforgettable too. Unforgettable in every way, and forevermore. That's why, darling, it's incredible that someone so unforgettable thinks that I am unforgettable too. ever said to try and make me change my mind and stay. We never did too much talking anyway. I'm walking down that long, lonesome road, babe. But goodbye is too good a word, gal. I ain't saying you treated me unkind. You could have done better, but I don't mind. It ain't no use in calling out my name, gal. It ain't no use in calling out my name, gal. I did. I'm a thinking and a wondering all the way down the road. I once loved a woman, a child I'm told. Her my heart, but she wanted my soul.
Shade